Hello everyone, welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host Wei Fang. Just so you know that Kathy is still in California. She's busy with some other work. So today we'll be alone here, just delivering to you this program today. Okay, Nancy Pelosi will be leading a small House representative delegation to Asia. What do we already know? That he will be going to Japan, Singapore, and South Korea. And actually, in the entire Chinese global Chinese community, people are asking, is she going to Taiwan? So far, it's still pending. Okay, and on Friday morning, which is this morning, Nancy Pelosi held a press conference before her trip, and the only thing she said is this: hear me out. We want Congress to be part of the Biden administration's strategy in the Indo-Pacific. I'm very excited should we go to the countries that you will be hearing about along the way. About the conversation we'll have, we have global responsibilities. As for the question from the reporter, are you going to Taiwan or not? Her answer is still, we won't say that because of due to the security reason. While Pelosi is holding her mouth tight, the action from the CCP side, from China side, was really big. First, the PLA, the Chinese military, declared that they're gonna do the shooting. Okay, the shooting drill in one area of the Taiwan Strait, which to anybody who understands Chinese government, you understand that's like a warning shot. Okay, and during for the range of the water in the Taiwan Strait, where they do the real shooting drill, and no ship shall be allowed to come in. And then Hu Xijing, which is the former general editor of the Global Times, which is basically like a political tabloid, okay? But there's no tabloid in China. Every piece of tabloid has been certified by the government. So basically, this person, Hu Xijing, is authorized to say things that the authority is not convenient for the authority to say. So what did he say? He said Pelosi's planned visit to Taiwan will be viewed as an invasion. Okay, he said the PLA has the right to forcefully dispel Pelosi's plane and the U.S. fighter jets, including firing warning shots and making tactical movement of the obstruction. If ineffective, then shoot them down. Wow, that's a pretty bold statement. And then a lot of U.S. media treat this as the headline, and looks like the atmosphere was really tense. And then, so what does the U.S. government respond? John Kirby, who is now the Speaker of the National Security Council, he said today that we see no physical, tangible indications of anything untoward with respect to Taiwan. And in the meantime, sources related to the Pentagon said the U.S. fighter jet are allowed to carry the maximum amount of ordnance as they patrol in the region. And one day earlier, the Ronald Reagan aircraft attack group is leaving Singapore and for South China Sea. So those are the most recent movement. But after all this, people are still asking, would Pelosi go to Taiwan? Does she dare to go to Taiwan? This still become a big puzzle that people are seeking answer. So if you ask me, how about this? And let me tell you my guess. I say Pelosi will be going to Taiwan. And the CCP couldn't do anything about it. Why? In Chinese, there's this idiom, which is the same as English, but Chinese has some more. There's this idiom called "a barking dog never bites." In Chinese, we have the second sentence saying that the biting dog never bark. Do you believe so? Well, okay, realistically, not necessarily so, right? But it's idiom that seems to both Eastern and Western culture honor. A barking dog never bites. Okay, the Hu Xijing, the CCP mouthpiece, was keep barking, and you know that he won't bite. If he want to bite, he probably will be very quiet, very silent, prepare for the fatal attack. Well, Pelosi doesn't talk much. Okay, she said, well, due to security reasons, I cannot say it. my guess would be she will be landing in Taiwan before anybody knows it, before she announces it. So what do you think? Let me know, what do you think? If you think she'll be going, please just type it there, say yes. If you say she will not be going, then just type no. And just if you have a few more words telling us that whether, what's your reason, that'd be even better. Okay. So, but indeed, this guessing game has become a hot topic of many Chinese media. They're guessing virtually every single day. All right. Okay, so this is the first piece of news. Now, next, let's talk about Supreme Court. As you know, Supreme Court is put to rest. They will be coming back only next October. Now, Justice Alito was in Rome last week, so he delivered a keynote speech at a Notre Dame, the law school over there. So Alito actually, he's a Catholic. So he went to Rome, possibly visiting the the Pope or whoever, the Catholic people there. But in this keynote speech, and he said something rather bold, and then created a lot of uproar among the leftist media. Okay, what did he say? He said, "I had the honor this term of writing, I think, the only Supreme Court decision in the history of that institution that has been lambasted by a whole string of foreign leaders." Okay, and the people was just laugh. And he went on. He said, "Who felt perfectly fine commenting on the American law?" Okay, Alito also jokingly said, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson has been ousted from the office due to his criticism of the decision. But he also said, but others are still in office. Who are they? Like President Macron of France and Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada. He said, I believe those two. And Alito went on and said sarcastically that he was the most wounded by the Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, who recently reacted to the court's decision by likening it to the Russian invasion of Ukraine and a part of the overall global insult on democracy and freedom. Okay, so that's what he said. And but I think as most media just zooming on those swiping. Actually, I think what's most important is the key thing that Alito tried to deliver in his keynote speech. Okay, and in that very speech, which lasts about 37 minutes, Alito reflected upon the parallels between the United States and Rome. Okay, as once a proud spiritual civilization, and nevertheless proved no human achievement is ever permanent. Alito said, I found myself thinking about the proud civilization that was centered here 2,000 years ago. He said, as I think back, I also think ahead, and I wonder what historians may say centuries from now about the contribution of the United States to world civilization. Alito also said, one thing I hope that they will say is that our country, after lots of fits and starts, up and downs, eventually show the world that it's possible to have a stable and a successful society in which people of diverse faiths live and work together harmoniously and productively while still retaining their own beliefs. What do you think? Yeah, Alito also said, and he noted that the fact that Americans can exercise religious liberty has been truly a historical accomplishment for the country. And in this United States, the justice, he said, where religious liberty goes hand in hand with many other rights, a growing hostility towards religion is threatening the protection of these sacred rights across the country. And Alito said, and the problem that looms is not just indifference to religion. It is not just ignorance about the religion. There's also growing hostility to religion, or at least the traditional religious beliefs that are contrary to the new moral code that is ascendant in some sectors. Okay, Alito said we consider the relationship between the freedom of speech and the freedom of assembly. And the religious service in the church is a form of assembly. If a government can ban those assemblies, will it hesitate to outlaw others? On the other hand, he said, if religious freedom, liberty is allowed, it will be harder for the state to restrict other speech and other assemblies. So basically, he's saying that religious, freedom is the liberty. Religious liberty is the forefront, is the first line of defense to the other form of the rights or other forms of freedom of this country. And so he said, while most legal academics nowadays believe that religion does not merit special protection, he said the Constitution of the United States provides a clear answer to the question whether religious liberty warrants protection. And he said the Constitution protects the free exercise of religion, and for judges like me who think to the belief that it matters what the Constitution says and what it does not say, and that's enough. It's the law, and don't ask me why. Yeah, so what do you think? What do you think about his speech? I want to know that, what's your opinion? Okay, and so far on the farm, you said Nancy playing game. But what do you think is, what kind of game is she playing? And Louis, you ask, what is the banking situation in China? They still keep people from their money, which I will be talking about next, okay? And Famila Cosmo said she's already there. Is that right? Basically, I've been checking news every couple of hours. I haven't done that in the last 2 hours. Is she already there? If she's there, that's very, very interesting. And Marcus said, please leave a thumb up. Okay, leave a thumbs up for this truth in broadcasting. Thank you very much, Mark. All right, so while we talk about this, there's some special religious, religious liberty infringement in this country, not by our government, but believe it or not, by a foreign government. So Kathy and I reported to you about this meditation exercise called Falun Gong from China, right? So Falun Gong is a meditation exercise based upon the value of truth, compassion, and tolerance. And it grew so fast in the 1990s, and over 100 million people pick it up, the exercise. And it's like a standing movement and sitting meditation. But due to its large number of followers, the government of China banned this exercise, and since then carry on a very, very brutal persecution. But what is strangest, the long arm of the Chinese government extending to this country. So all over the nation, Falun Gong practitioners went to join parade, pass out the flyers, talking which inform people of the persecution in China, and holding like a information booth. But they were attacked, harassed, sometimes even just violently attacked by the proxy or the agent of the Chinese government. And pretty much, let me just share you with this, whether you believe it or not. This is what I know the truth. Chinese government pretty much see Chinese all over the world, the diaspora, all over the world as their subjects. They think they are the government for all Chinese all over the world, whether they have naturalized, to the other country or not. So their consulate, their embassies in United States, they move around and assuming they are the leader, they are the official, they are the ruler, and then talk down to Chinese people that way. For some reason, due to the cultural reason, and many Chinese people, they just, they accept that. All right. So for the Falun Gong practitioner who try to spread the truth about what happened in China, they were attacked. They were just bullied by the people that the Chinese consulate or the embassy, sent. So that has been happening. So there's a lawsuit against those people, and listing 40 incidents of threat and physical assault against the Falun Gong practitioner for their participation of those events. And in one particular case, 20 or 30 thugs just surround two Falun Gong practitioner and holding them for 30 minutes and until the police arrived. And the mob yelled, "Kill her," and beat her to death. And this has happened in this country okay, believe it or not. So the lawsuit actually was dismissed by the lower court, and now it's being appealed. And then 32 the AG, or attorney generals across the nation, in a joint amicus brief, described the point of law in the case as an issue of national importance and supporting the religious freedom of Falun Gong practitioners. So, of course, we're not talking about the, infringement of religious freedom by our government. It's by a foreign government. But that's even, that's even worse. If we cannot, protect our people, fend off those foreign persecution, how can we say it's a safe country? So that has been happening, but fortunately, those AGs that are speaking out and fighting for every battle on the religious freedom is very, very important, in my opinion. And I've been doing this, this is called the 28 Founding Principles of the United States in the Chinese, okay? I'm doing the Chinese program, of course. My source of information is from English by Professor Paul Skousen. Okay, so among the 28 founding principles identified by the founding fathers, the very second one, basically one of the leading ones, they are about religious freedom. It's really the cornerstone of this country. And because of the strong faith and the strong religious belief, we can build a solid, moral on top of it. And on top of that, we build, great society, great culture, and great products, and so on and so forth. If this country, we no longer have our religious freedom, we no longer have our religious value, nothing else will stand on top of it, right? So it's very important, and I'm very glad that Justice Alito called it out in a very bold way. Okay, he was attacked. He has been attacked since yesterday, the publishing of this 37 minutes piece, but he's still standing firm there. And okay, so now next let's talk about China. Okay, what was in China? Actually, there's a few pieces of news which is rather important, and so one has to do with the Hengda, the Evergrande, okay, and then that company cannot pay their debt, the due debt, and then now it's already underwater, carry the debt of 2 trillion RMB. 2 trillion RMB is about like a 300 billion US dollars. And at the end of this month, they are supposed to come up with their reorg plan. Okay, so far the government does not allow it to go bankrupt because they don't have any confidence in handling the fallout of their bankruptcy, the so-called social instability, and they don't rescue them because they think there's too much money to rescue a company with the $2 trillion in debt. And then, okay, and then they won't let it fall. So far it's then in the meantime this company just leaving it alone, and then it just snowballs its debt, so it become bigger and bigger. So that's a big shadow of the economy in China. In the meantime, 4 other companies they couldn't pay back the debt. This is what has happened in the last one week. And 3 of them, they are public company on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. So some of them, they just owe as little as like $12 million. They cannot even pay that. So which means the real estate industry in China is in really, really big trouble. And to talk about it, Louis, you ask about, in the Henan province, right? People save their money, put their money, deposit their money in the bank, someday just disappear. And have they got their money back? No, they have not. The government promised everybody will get their 50,000 RMB, which is about like $8,000, protected. But ended up they did not give all those money to everybody. Only a very, very small portion, maybe like just 2% of people got that 50,000 RMBs. All the other people, they still don't. So it's like an empty promise. So because of that, recently, China Bank in Sydney, believe it or not, in Sydney, and the Chinese people, especially those students, overseas students who have accounts in Chinese bank, they're lining up there long line to do what? Take their money back. So would that be the starting place of a bank run? We don't know. But I know that if there is a bank run, it will mean big trouble for the Bank of China, because they lend out too much. They don't have enough, deposit there. They don't have any reserve there. So the bank run will really cause huge trouble to them. And another two pieces of survey in China, just so you know, that one is again by the China Bank, which is showing that as high as 58% of consumers now they chose to save more. And another survey on the people of under 40 years old, and then shows that 7% of them don't save. Okay, 7%, and 40% of them save, and among them 27%. They save more than 50% of their salary, monthly salary, to do what? To prepare for possible unemployment and possible sickness. Okay, so this shows that Chinese people now, and the government propaganda is still saying that we are the number 2 economy and aiming to become number 1. But for vast number of people, most people in China, okay, they are trying to, go frugal and save a lot to prepare for the rainy time. And the Chinese economy has three main pillars. One is real estate, the second is export, the third is consumption. Okay, and then real estate is basically down, and now I've just shared with you the survey. It means that consumer spending is going soft, and what is left is only export. Export where? Well, you can guess, export this country. And Biden tried to lower the tariff so that the goods can come in more easily. But if in this country, if we are in the so-called stagflation, then that will hurt our buying power, that will impact on the third pillar of China's economy. So as you know, that yesterday the data came out that the U.S. economy entered the second quarter's contraction. Okay. And what will happen down the road? Would we have the third? Actually, I talked to a economics professor in the University of Buffalo, and he shared with me that he does see that the third quarter of a contraction coming, and the Fed has been too dovish. The action seems to be hawkish, but their talk is dovish. Because of that, the investor doesn't believe them. They don't think they are reining the inflation. Well, raise the interest high enough, so they're still coming in and buy up the stock. So which means what? Well, which means we will still have high inflation. It may come down a little bit, but it probably will still stay at 6% or 7%, while our economy will slow down. The stagnation and inflation usually don't go hand in hand. But in our situation, it seems that we will get that, which is last time we got it is 40 years ago. So believe it or not, that's very likely where we will be. Okay, let me read a little bit about what you say. And Myson Randall, you wrote, I hope Pelosi goes, but I worry about what goes on those long phone calls between my friend Xi and Biden. Yeah, I gotcha. So basically my cap is this. The two guys talk about 2 hours and 17 minutes. Then each of them go back to write their own summary. The two things does not even match. So it's like they got no result after 37 minutes of talk. But the two leaders of the country, don't they have anything better to do? And this is already the 5th time. They spend so much time just talking to each other for what? There's no result. There's no consensus. And even out of the same meeting, their press releases is just like each of them just went to different places, right? So it's ridiculous. And why do they still do that? Let me share with you my point of view. It's because Biden wants it. Biden have this notion, which is very Western. Okay, they want to compete. Biden administration want to compete with CCP, okay, and with some guarding frail. They want to compete, but they don't want to kill each other. They don't want to have to get things out of control. So their belief is that as we compete, we talk to each other often enough that will prevent disaster from occurring. It's very good intention, but doesn't work with CCP. If it's your, you're your neighbor, if your coworkers, yes, indeed, there's this, this idiom that can be never too much communication. Communication will eliminate misunderstanding, reduce the chance of, attrition, and then even just trigger any crisis. So that's what they believe in, what the Biden administration. And for Xi Jinping, what's his point of view? Okay, actually, it's not a normal neighbor. It's not your coworker. CCP is a monster. It's a monster who once get enough strength and once see the opportunity will come and bury us. That's what CCP is. Okay, maintain this channel of communication virtually does nothing. Okay, CCP only respects strength. So what we should do is what Trump administration learned near the end of their term, which is, cut the tie, even leave no ambassador there. Be strong. They will come to, plead with you. That's indeed what would happen. Every Chinese expert who understands China knows how to deal with them that way. But Biden's still taking this such a naive way, saying that let me treat you nice. You probably will treat me nice. They don't do it that way. Okay, it's not a normal human being. You're talking about the evil force there, whose only aim, whose long-term aim is to bury U.S., destroy U.S. And but anyway, Biden still want to talk to him and maintain this so-called open communication to Xi Jinping, talking to the leader, the president of the number one country in the world, will give him credibility, in the party. So it's like, why not? A couple of hours, okay, just do that talk, senseless talk, but that's basically the why these two people, waste 1 or 2 hours every few months, and so that's the situation. And as to what they talk about exchange during that talk, a few days ago, I think a little. I do think a little, not too much. Okay, so that'll be all for today. And Kathy will be arriving on Sunday, so next week we'll be doing program again together again. And thank you very much for staying with us. Really appreciate it. Now it's Friday night, and I wish you have a great weekend. And take care, okay? And I'll see you again. Thank you.